Hey there my peeps, it is now time for the Raw results / highlights and review video. I'll go over the results of the show, some of the highlights in my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts on it all. So, it all kicks off with Paul Heyman in the ring, and he's wondering if Triple H accepts Brock Lesnar's challenge for a steel cage match at Extreme Rules. He then says, we're all waiting for Triple H to come out and accept the challenge, but Triple H is not here tonight. But Triple H did send him an email, so he pulls out his phone and reads the email. The email says, I never back down from a fight, but due to my injuries, I'll announce whether I accept or not next week. So then the crowd boos because Triple H isn't there, but then Triple H's music hits, and he comes out, and then he tells Paul Heyman about the email. He lied, and then he hits a pedigree on Paul Heyman. Actually, before he hit the pedigree, he tells Paul Heyman to go home and tell Brock Lesnar that he accepts the challenge. And then, of course, the pedigree follows. After that, it was R-Truth versus Antonio Cesaro, and R-Truth is back to rapping again during his theme song, the What's Up rapping. Anyways, R-Truth wins in a pretty quick matchup with the Little Jimmy. After that match, they show somebody arriving in a helicopter, and it's actually the Shield in the helicopter. So they get out of the helicopter, and then they go inside a vehicle, which I guess is a vehicle that will transport them to the arena. After that, tons of fun came out, and Team Rhodes Scholars came out. It was actually for Damien Sandow versus Brodus Clay, and Damien Sandow won the matchup due to some distraction from Cody Rhodes. Damien Sandow rolled up Brodus Clay and grabbed the tights to win the matchup. And then Dolph Ziggler is backstage, and he's actually talking to the World Heavyweight Championship. And eventually AJ comes up to him, and she's telling him, are you trying to make me jealous by, talking to the World Heavyweight Championship or whatever. And he says, AJ should also have a title of her own. It would look so much better on AJ than on her former best friend, Caitlyn. And then Big E, no, actually, wait a minute. Oh yeah, after that, they kiss, and Big E is like right there, and he's looking at them. So AJ's like, she points at Big E, and Dolph is like, he tells Big E to leave, and then Vicky and Brad Maddox come up to them, and they announce that tonight Dolph Ziggler will face off against Chris Jericho, and in that matchup, if Dolph Ziggler happens to lose, then it won't be a triple threat match at Extreme Rules. It will be a fatal 4-way because Chris Jericho will be added to the matchup. That's if he wins the match. The commentators then show a replay, or what happened last week, basically, with CM Punk when he left. And then the Shield cut a promo on The Undertaker and the matchup tonight. Afterwards, it was Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler in a 1-on-1 matchup. And Dolph won the matchup when Jericho had the Lion Salt locked in. Lion Salt? No, not the Lion Salt. I mean the Walls of Jericho locked in. And then Fandango's music hit, so that distracted Jericho and allowed Dolph Ziggler to hit the zigzag, go for the cover, and win the matchup. And then Mick Foley was getting interviewed backstage by Josh Matthews, and he gets asked what's the difference between the Attitude Era and the current era, and he says, the people are different, but it doesn't change the fact, it doesn't change human nature, whatever, where if a man's wrong, or if he does a mistake or something like that, he doesn't blame himself, he blames somebody else or something else. He says that's the case with Ryback, and Ryback needs to stop making excuses when he faces off against John Cena at Extreme Rules. And then after that, Tons of Funk and Team Rhodes Scholars that are out in the ring once again. This time though, it's Cody Rhodes versus Tensai. And Tensai wins the matchup with a running senton. And then Kane and Daniel Bryan are backstage, where Daniel Bryan is asking Kane if Taker's here yet. Kane tells him no. He says when he's here, you'll know. And Daniel Bryan just tells him, can't you just call him? And Kane says he doesn't really, he doesn't carry a cell phone. And, it's kind of a comedy segment. And Daniel Bryan has these, sheets of paper with strategy on it. Kane says the Undertaker doesn't follow orders or whatever, and he says whatever you do when Taker comes here, do not try and hug him. Daniel Bryan says I promise, and then they get attacked by, you don't really see, but they get attacked and they get taken down but then you see like 2 feet, or actually 4 feet. It appears to be the Shield, although it's only 4 feet and not 6. So it seems like 2 members of the Shield attack Team Hell No. And then after that, backstage is Ryback getting interviewed by Josh Matthews. He says he heard what Mick Foley, said about him earlier, and he wants to go face to face with Mick Foley in the ring tonight. Except this time, Mick Foley won't be looking at the mirror, in front of the mirror, he'll be looking at Ryback's face. And then he ends the promo by saying Ryback rules. That seems to be his new catchphrase. And then Big E comes out for a matchup against Zack Ryder. It ends up being a pretty quick matchup. Big E wins with the big ending. Taker then comes out for the 6-man tag team match. And the Shield actually come out before Team Hell No. They come out, surround the ring, attack the Undertaker, and then Team Hell No make their entrance and save the Undertaker. So they start the match. Match ends up being pretty good. The Shield actually gets a victory in this matchup. In the end, though, Kane hit the chokeslam towards the end of the matchup. Kane hit the chokeslam on Dean Ambrose, and then he tagged in Bryan for the top rope headbutt. So Bryan goes on the top rope, but Roman Reigns pulls Daniel Bryan's leg, so Daniel Bryan falls, crowd first onto the turnbuckles. And then Taker takes out Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins attacks Undertaker, Kane attacks Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan finally, recovers, and then he goes for the headbutt, but Dean Ambrose rolls out the way, covers Daniel Bryan, 1, 2, 3, the Shield win the matchup, and are still undefeated. Mick Foley sent backstage with John Cena, who's trying to talk him out of, confronting Ryback or whatever. Mick Foley says he has to do it or whatever. And John Cena says, alright, but take this with you, and he gives him a steel chair. Fandango then comes out for a matchup, and the crowd, he comes out to a big pop. Crowd is chanting his theme song, and his opponent is actually William Regal. Pretty quick match. Fandango wins with the spinning STO, pretty much Mike Knox's old finisher. And after the matchup, once he goes up to the stage, Chris Jericho attacks him and throws him off the stage, and then he starts dancing with Fandango's dancer. And that was pretty much it for the segment. Afterwards was the Divas Battle Royal, where the winner would be the #1 contender for Kaitlyn's Divas Championship. So Kaitlyn was on commentary. The Divas were Tamina, I believe both Funkadactyls, or it might have been just Naomi, I'm not too sure. And Layla, AJ, and I think that was it. Maybe there was more, I'm not too sure. But anyways, in the beginning of the matchup, pretty early on, Tamina hit a super kick on AJ, which knocked her out. And then the last 3 people in the Battle Royale were Tamina, Layla, and AJ. Layla eliminated Tamina, and then AJ was still knocked out. She was still on the mat, knocked out. So Layla just grabs her and drags her and tries to get her over the bottom rope. But AJ suddenly, regains consciousness or whatever, and kicks Layla out of the ring and wins the Battle Royale. So she was, pretending to be knocked out, and took opportunity of Layla thinking she was knocked out to win the matchup. So now she's the #1 contender to Kaitlyn's Divas Championship. And then Mick Foley came out to confront Ryback. Ryback comes out. They go back and forth. Mick Foley's kind of giving Ryback some advice. Ryback, insults him, calls him a fat, lazy bastard, and that he keeps, year after year, keeps interfering in people's business. And in the beginning, he asked Mick Foley, what does he think a steel chair will do for him when he's face-to-face with Ryback? How is that going to help him? So he says, I'm going to ask you one more time. How do you think this steel chair is going to help you again, face-to-face with Ryback? And, they're about to fight. Ryback tells him to look him in the eye, and then throws Mick Foley's steel chair out of the ring. They're about to fight. John Cena comes out for the save, breaks him up. Mick Foley gets out of the ring. And then the Shield come out, and John Cena gets out of the ring, and he's on the apron. He gets off the apron, leaves Ryback on his own. The Shield gets in the ring, attacks Ryback, but John Cena actually comes back with the steel chair, the same steel chair that Ryback threw out of the ring, and makes the save, hits the Shield, and they all run away. And then John Cena hits the Attitude Adjustment on Ryback to end the show. So what did I think about tonight's Raw? Highlights for me. I'd say the Shield match, the 6-man tag team match. The Shield versus Team Hell No and The Undertaker. I also like that that small comedy segment, I guess, or backstage segment with Kane and Daniel Bryan. Also, Dolph Ziggler versus Chris Jericho was also a good match. But as far as the overall show, if I were to give it a rating, I'd give it pretty much the same thing I gave Raw last week, which is a 6, maybe a 6.5. So, around that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can expect a 2K14 related video from me tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And on Wednesday or Thursday, I'll be uploading an online matchup. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can click that like button. I'd really appreciate it. With that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.